Greetings, this is a video on learning to code, how to learn to code. So I'm learning to code, I'm getting better and better every day. And I'm 44, I haven't been coding for very long, I've been coding for, a couple of years. I've been coding every single day for maybe 6 months, as in religiously, chunks of time throughout my day for about 6 months. So I haven't been coding very long, but I've learnt a lot. And I'm practicing every day, and I'm learning to code. So I wanted to give some advice on how to learn to code, how you can learn to code. So the first thing I would say is that sometimes when we sit down at a computer and learn to code, we end up staring at a block of information that makes absolutely no sense, and you end up in a brain fog. You end up discouraged, you want to go do something else. It's fatiguing, it's tiring, you feel hopeless, you feel like you'll never get this, I'll never get this. This doesn't make any sense. How does this make any sense? I have to be not intelligent enough. Those sorts of things run through your mind. But there's also been countless times where I've sat at a block of code that's made no sense. And then 2 hours later, I understand it perfectly, like I understand anything else. It's as simple as anything else. And that's the process of learning to code. You sit at a block of information you don't understand, and you just very patiently and slowly take your time and look over it and understand what each individual part of it is supposed to mean. You start writing it, start practicing it. And eventually it will come. You'll start to understand one piece of it. You go, oh, so this part here means this. I don't know what the rest of it is, but I know what this part is. And then you go, oh, I kind of understand what this part is as well. And then you go, oh, wait a minute, this part's from before. I was doing that before, so I understand that bit. Why is it written like that? Oh, I know why it's written like that. It's written like that because of this. And things start to make sense, and you start to put them together until you're looking at a page and going, this just makes perfect sense. I understand all this. And so you move on to the next bit, and you move on to the next bit, and then the next bit's the same thing. You're just looking at it going, what is this? I'll never understand this. I'll never get this. This is just, okay, this is probably, you're looking at the page going, this is probably where my coding knowledge is going to end. I won't get past here. But then the next day, you understand it perfectly. That's the process of learning to code. And the other thing is, it's valuable. The whole reason it's a valuable skill is because it's difficult to understand and it takes time. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. It wouldn't be valuable. It's valuable because there's a process of learning. So one thing I would say is also be patient and do it for the long term. It's a valuable skill. You either want to do it or you don't want to do it. It's as simple as that. So if you don't want to do it, then you don't have to do it. But if you want to do it, just be patient, do it for the long term, do tiny steps, and just commit. So even if it's small amounts of time every day, you can commit 15 minutes a day if you really wanted to. That's better than nothing, and that will help you to learn more and more. So that's another thing, is to be patient, put in small amounts of effort regularly, and you will definitely learn it. You will definitely get better and better. Another thing I would say is, you do need to remember syntax and like the language of the particular program, the particular language you're learning. So if it's, for example, JavaScript, or if it's C, or if it's Python, which is a bit easier, but if it's Python, they've all got their own syntax that you have to sort of memorize. Which is part of it, but that's not really the key part that you're trying to understand when you're learning to code. You're trying to understand the concepts. So things like loops and arrays and conditional statements and iterators, all these objects, all these different things, these concepts are the important things that you're learning. So it's not only important to sort of try and memorize the syntax, but it's important to kind of understand what's behind it, what you're doing with it. It's like learning the English language. Learning the English language isn't learning words. Words are just just a tiny part of it. It's not enough to learn words. You have to learn how to put them together and make sentences and paragraphs and understand what you're using the words for. The words are just the tools, and then you put all those things together to make language. It's the same thing with coding. The syntax is only the words. It's good to memorize, but that's not the important bit. The important bit is the idea behind it, the meaning behind it, the concepts behind the coding. That's what you're trying to learn. And the good thing is, if you learn one language and you learn the concepts behind that language, and you learn that language really good. So for example, I'm doing JavaScript. I'm learning JavaScript. I put a lot of time into JavaScript. But a lot of the things that I'm learning in JavaScript, now I've gone over to Python, and they're all there. There's just a slightly different syntax, but I understand the concepts. So you want to understand the concepts. So yeah, that's pretty much what I would say. If you're trying to learn to code, if you really want to do it, do it. Anyone can do it. If you're having trouble with it, just be patient. You can go away and come back later. Sometimes you can burn yourself out. If you're like me and you like to work really hard, you can burn yourself out. So just go away, do something else, get some rest, get plenty of rest. Sometimes, what's in front of you don't understand because you're too tired. So you go have a sleep, and the next morning you're a lot sharper. So make sure you rest, take your time with it. It's a long game, do it for the long term. But that's my advice on learning to code. Thank you.